Boys and girls, as you know, we have been working on story problems in math. We have been solving many types of problems with both addition and subtraction. What we're going to do today is learn how to write our very own word problem. So first, we're going to talk about the three types of problems we have learned to solve. First, there is start, change, result. Then, part, whole. And finally, comparison. Let's first talk about start, change, result. This is when we start with a group, we then change that group, and we get a result of a new version of that group. Now there are two ways the group can change. We can add to it, or we can take away from it. Let's look at an example. You have some marbles. You then find some marbles. Our clue word here is found. With that key word, do you think this is an add to or takeaway problem? Right. It would be an add to because we have found more marbles to add to our other marbles. An example of a takeaway problem would be if we lost some of our marbles. Our next kind of story problem is part, whole. This is when we start with some groups, which are called the parts, and then we combine the parts to find the total or the whole. We can also start with the whole and find the part. That's called a takeaway problem. There are two parts to a part, whole problem, which are put together and take apart. Let's compare them. In a put together problem, the story will ask you for the total. For example, it might say, how many altogether, or how many in total. In a take apart problem, the story gives you the total. It would say something like, there are this many altogether, or it will ask you for one of the parts in the question. Let's look at an example. You have a bowl of fruit. There are bananas and apples in the bowl. There is a total of 15 pieces. 7 of those are apples. How many bananas are in the bowl? Do we think that the bananas represent the total or the part? Right, they represent the part because the total amount of fruit is 15 pieces. The apples and the bananas make up the parts, and when combined, they make up the fruit, which is the whole. Our last type of problem is comparison. In these problems, we start with two groups. We then compare the groups. Some key words we could see in these type of problems would be more than, less than, larger than, smaller than, longer than, or shorter than. Here are some sentence examples we would see in these story problems. I have more than you. The dog is larger than the cat. Her hair is longer than his. As you can see, more than, larger than, and longer than are in our sentences. So let's recap what we have learned. We are learned that there are three types of story problems that we can solve. The first is start, change, result. The second is part, whole. The third is comparison. Now let's put your knowledge to the test. Here's your assignment. I want you to choose one type of story problem and use that to write your own math word problem. Write your word problem on one page of paper, and on another page of paper, I want you to solve the story problem. I also want you to tell me what kind of story problem you used. Then I want you to hand your unsolved story problem to one of your classmates for them to solve. And help them if they need any help because you are the one with the answer, okay? And then I want you guys to check your answers when you are finished. Good luck!